I died on my wedding day. The bitter foam of poisoned champagne bubbling up my throat like the lies I'd swallowed for years. Jake's smile, that perfect, predatory grin, was the last thing I saw as the world blurred to black. His hand steady on my back like he was comforting a dying lover instead of murdering his wife. But death wasn't the end. It was a goddamn reset button, slamming me back into my body 6 months earlier. Heart pounding in the mirror of my cramped Brooklyn apartment, alive and seething with the kind of rage that could burn empires. The first breath hit like a freight train. I gasped, clutching the sink, staring at my reflection, 28, wide-eyed, with that stupid engagement ring glinting like a shackle. It was July, not December. The air thick with summer humidity instead of the sterile chill of the hospital morgue. My phone buzzed on the counter, a text from Jake. Miss you already, babe. Dinner at my folks tonight? Dad's dying to meet you properly. I laughed, a raw, ugly sound that echoed off the tiles. Dying to meet me? Oh. He'd get his chance. But this time, I wouldn't be the naive idiot sipping hemlock at the altar. This time, I'd drag every skeleton out of their gilded closets, starting with the fraud that built their fortune and the betrayal that buried me. I splashed water on my face, forcing calm into my veins. In my first life, God, it sounded insane even in my head, I'd been Autumn Haze, rising star at a mid-tier ad agency, scraping by on grit and caffeine in the city that chews up dreamers. Jake Whittaker? He was the golden boy, heir to Whittaker Enterprises, a real estate conglomerate that turned Rust Belt factories into luxury lofts. We met at a networking gala in Chelsea, sparks flying over cheap Merlot and forced small talk. He charmed me with stories of boardroom battles and weekend escapes to the Hamptons, making me feel like the only woman in a room full of sharks. 6 months in, he proposed on the Brooklyn Bridge at sunset, down on one knee with a ring that screamed old money. I said yes because it felt like destiny, like I'd finally cracked the code to the American dream. But destiny was a liar. 3 months before the wedding, I'd stumbled on the truth while helping Jake prep a pitch. Buried in a flash drive he left on my laptop, emails, ledgers, shell companies siphoning millions from low-income tenants in their revitalized projects. Evictions disguised as upgrades, bribes to city officials. The works. Whittaker Enterprises wasn't building dreams, it was bulldozing lives. I confronted him that night, voice shaking in our shared loft overlooking the East River. Jake, this is criminal. We have to turn it over. His eyes hardened, that boyish charm cracking like thin ice. Autumn. Baby, it's just business. My family's legacy. You think you can waltz in and play whistleblower? You'd ruin us, all of us. Us. That's when I saw it, the web. His mother, Evelyn, the Ice Queen socialite who'd welcomed me with passive-aggressive jabs about my rustic background. His sister, Lila, the trust fund brat who'd accidentally spilled red wine on my dress at the engagement brunch. And his father, Harlan Whittaker, the untouchable patriarch, whose dramatic blessings masked an empire built on bones. I didn't blow the whistle. Love's a hell of a blindfold. Instead, I buried it, convinced Jake when he promised to fix it quietly. Lies piled on lies until the wedding eve, when I found the revised prenup, clauses that'd strip me bare if I ever disclosed confidential information. Panic set in. I called my dad that morning, voice cracking over the line from his ranch in upstate New York. Dad, something's off. Jake's family. They're not who they seem. His gravelly laugh cut through the static. The same one that had coached me through every scraped knee and heartbreak. Autumn girl. Fiancé's family isn't important. It's the man you marry who matters. Trust your gut. But don't borrow trouble. You've got this. God. I wish I'd listened harder. That night, at the rehearsal dinner in their sprawling Upper East Side townhouse, Harlan Whitaker made his dramatic entrance, striding in late from a meeting, clapping Jake on the back with a booming, "This one's a keeper. Son, Autumn. Welcome to the family." The room erupted in polite applause, crystal clinking like chains. I smiled through it, but my gut twisted. It was the last real moment before the poison. Now, back in July, that dinner loomed like a guillotine. I had 6 months to unravel them, piece by bloody piece. First things first, get the evidence. I grabbed my keys, the ring heavy on my finger. No way was I ditching it yet, better to play the part, lure them in. The subway rattled me downtown to the office. The familiar grind of strap hangers a balm against the surreal. My desk waited, cluttered with mock-ups and coffee rings. Sarah, my cubicle neighbor, waved. "Audie, you look like you saw a ghost." "Rough night with Loverboy." I forced a grin. "Something like that." "Hey. Cover for me if the boss swings by. Got a errand." She nodded, oblivious. Good. I booted up my work laptop, company policy be damned, and dove into public records. Whitaker Enterprises, glossy website touting sustainable urban renewal. Dig deeper. Lawsuits from evicted families. Whispers of SEC probes quashed by high-priced lawyers. Nothing concrete, but threads. One name popped, Marcus Hale, a former VP who'd vanished after resigning 2 years back. Fired for asking too many questions? I bookmarked it. Heart racing. This was child's play compared to what I'd need. By noon, I was at a dingy internet cafe in Midtown, the kind with flickering fluorescents and the faint whiff of stale ramen. Anonymity first. I set up a burner email, Shadow Ledger at ProtonMe, and started scraping. FOIA requests for city permits. Cross-referencing with tenant complaints on Reddit and local blogs. Hours blurred. Lunch was a protein bar scarfed between tabs. A pattern emerged, foreclosures timed to stock bumps. Donations to council members who'd fast-track approvals. Harlan's signature on every key doc. The man was a spider. Jake his eager heir. Dusk fell as I emerged, head throbbing. My phone. 3 missed calls from Jake. "Where are you?" "Dinner's at 7. "Dad's got stories that'll blow your mind." I texted back. "Stuck at work. Babe. Be there soon. Love you." The lie tasted like ash, but it bought time. On the walk to the subway, doubt crept in. What if I was wrong? What if the poison was paranoia? A hallucination from stress? No. The burn in my throat. Jake's whispered, "It'll be quick," as I convulsed. Memories didn't lie. The Whitaker townhouse glowed like a beacon of false warmth. Gas lamps flickering on the stoop. I smoothed my sundress, simple cotton, worlds from Evelyn Chanel, and rang the bell. Lila answered, all blonde highlights and shark smiles. "Autumn." Finally. "Mom's been pacing." "Come in. Don't just stand there gawking." The foyer swallowed me, marble floors, crystal chandelier dripping light like liquid gold. Voices drifted from the dining room, Jake's laugh. Low and magnetic, Evelyn's clipped tones, Harlan's rumble. Absence so far. I stepped in, steeling myself. Jake rose, pulling me into a kiss that lingered too long, his hand possessive on my waist. There's my girl. You look exhausted. Rough day. His eyes searched mine. That blue gaze I'd once drowned in. Now it felt like interrogation. Just the usual grind, I murmured, extricating gently. Can't wait to unwind.
Dinner was a masterclass in tension.
Evelyn presided over seared scallops and heirloom tomatoes, her questions probing like scalpels. So, Autumn, tell us more about your
family.
Upstate.
Was it?
Charming. Translation, Hicktown. I smiled, fork poised. Dad's a rancher, cows, not condos. Keeps it real. Jake squeezed my knee under the table. A warning or affection, hard to tell. Then, the door swung open with a theatrical creak. Harlan Whitaker filled the frame. Over 6 feet of bespoke wool and bourbon-scented charisma. Gray temples, jaw like carved granite, eyes that missed nothing. Apologies, darlings. Traffic from the office was a beast. He crossed to me in 3 strides, enveloping my hand in his, a grip firm, almost paternal. Autumn Hayes. The woman who's tamed my wild son. A pleasure. Finally, without the gala frenzy, his voice boomed, drawing laughs from the table. But in my first life, this was the man who'd toasted me hours before the poison, his blessing the noose around my neck. Pleasure's mine, Mr. Whitaker, I said, voice steady. Up close. He smelled of success and secrets, cigar smoke clinging to his lapels. Jake speaks so highly of you. All lies. I assure you. He chuckled, settling at the head. Call me Harlan. We're family now. The word hung, laced with irony. As plates cleared, stories flowed, Harlan's rise from nothing tale, glossing over the 80s real estate crashes he'd profited from. Jake hung on every word, mirroring his dad's gestures. Lila rolled her eyes. Evelyn beamed like a proud curator. I played along, laughing at the right beats, but my mind raced. Under the table, my phone vibrated, alert for my scraper script. Hit an old email chain. Harlan to a lawyer about silencing Hale. Marcus Hale. The missing VP. By coffee, I excused myself to the powder room, locking the door and firing off an anonymous tip to a journalist contact from my agency days. Whitaker fraud. Start with Hale. Docs attached. Back at the table, Harlan fixed me with a stare over his espresso. Autumn. Jake says you're quite the investigator at work. Ever think of jumping ship? We could use sharp minds like yours. Recruitment or reconnaissance. Flattering. But I'm loyal, I replied, meeting his gaze. Besides, family first. He nodded. Slow. Like a chess master conceding a pawn. Wise girl. Loyalty's everything. The dinner dragged to port. Hugs and cheek kisses at the door. Jake walked me to my cab, lingering. You were quiet tonight. Everything okay?
Perfect, I lied.
Kissing him lightly. Just tired. Love you. The cab pulled away, their townhouse shrinking in the rear view. My hands shook as I pulled up the docs on my phone. Evidence mounting. Wire transfers. Falsified evictions. But it wasn't enough. To burn them, I'd need the smoking gun, the board minutes where Harlan greenlit the schemes. Sleep evaded me that night. the ceiling fan whirring like accusations. Dawn broke gray over Brooklyn. Coffee bitter as resolve. Step 2. Get closer. I called in sick to work, instead heading to the public library's microfilm archives. Old school. Untraceable. Hours sifting yellowed clippings. Whitaker's first big score. A Bronx development that displaced hundreds. One article mentioned a whistleblower. Silenced by settlement. Hale's predecessor? By afternoon. Paranoia nipped at my heels. A black SUV idled across the street as I emerged. Coincidence? I ducked into a bodega, heart hammering, and called Dad. Hey,
Kiddo.
you sound off. Wedding jitters. Worse, I whispered, scanning the street.
Dad.
If I told you something crazy about Jake's family, his paws stretched. Spill it. You know I got your back. I hesitated, the weight of foreknowledge crushing. They're not good people. Fraud. Maybe worse. I think they'd hurt me to keep it quiet. Silence. Then a sigh. Autumn. Fiancé's family isn't important. It's the heart you trust. But if it's bad,
Walk. Now.
come home if you need to. His words echoed my past plea. Twisting the knife. I hung up, resolve hardening. No running. This time, I'd fight. The week blurred into a double life. Doting fiancé by day.
Digital ghost by night.
Dates with Jake. Picnics in Central Park. Where he'd murmur futures over falafel, I'd smile. Memorizing his tells. The way his jaw ticked when pressed on work. Nights, hacking forums. Bribing a low-level Whitaker clerk with cash from my savings for internal memos. The clerk, a nervous kid named Theo, met me in a Hell's Kitchen diner. This stuff's toxic.
Man.
Harlan finds out. I'm done. Won't trace to you. I promised. Sliding an envelope. Lies. But necessary. The memos confirmed it. Harlan sign off on every dirty deal. Jake CC'd on half. My first life flashed me. Sobbing in Jake's office. Begging him to choose us over them. It's blood.
Autumn.
You wouldn't understand.
Blood.
Legacy. The poison was his final loyalty test. One I failed by threatening to leave. Mid-August heat wave hit like judgment. Engagement party loomed. A black tie affair at the plaza. Invites glittered. A-listers. Pauls. The Whitakers' web in full spin. I needed a play, something to rattle without tipping my hand. Enter the controversial call. Leak a teaser. Not full docs. Just enough to spook. I chose a tenants' rights blog. Anonymous post. Whitaker evictions. The human cost. Attached. Redacted ledgers. Victim stories I'd crowdsourced from forums. Posted at 2 a.m. I watched hits climb from my laptop. Pulse thundering. Morning brought fallout. Jake's call at dawn. Babe, you see this crap online? Some activist bullshit about Dad's projects. He's furious, says it's sabotage. His voice edged panic. You didn't say anything, right? God. No, I gasped, feigning shock. That's awful. Who'd do that?
Inside.
Triumph coiled. By lunch, news trickled. Harlan in damage control. Lawyers circling. Evelyn texted the group chat. Discretion. Everyone. Party goes on. Lila. This is why we vet fiancés LOL. I deleted.
Seething.
They saw me as the weak link already. The party night arrived sweltering. The plaza's ballroom a swirl of silk and suspicion. I arrived in emerald silk, bold, unapologetic, Jake's arm possessive. "You look killer," he murmured, but his eyes darted. Harlan cornered us early, scotch in hand.
Autumn.
A word. We stepped to a alcove. Velvet drapes muffling the jazz. "That blog nonsense hurts the family." "You hear anything at your agency? Competitors?" Innocent blink. "Nothing."
Harlan.
"But if it's fraud, shouldn't we address it?" His laugh barked. Too loud. Spoken like a true outsider. "Stick to ads.
Dear.
Real estate's for those who play dirty." Warning delivered. I nodded, filing it away. As champagne flowed, tension simmered. A councilman pulled Harlan aside, whispers urgent. Jake downed flutes like water, grip tightening on me. Then, the twist I'd half-dreaded. My dad. Uninvited. Unannounced. Striding in like a cowboy in khakis and a Stetson. Face thunderous. Autumn. Heads turned. Jake stiffened. "What the, your old man's here?" Dad barreled through, enveloping me in flannel-scented bear hug. "Told you I'd crash if you didn't answer calls." His eyes flicked to Jake. Hard. "Son. A word."
Now.
The room hushed as they faced off, Dad's raw Americana against Jake's polished edge. "I hear things."
Boy.
"Bad things. Hurt my girl. And rancher or not, I'll bury you." Jake paled, Harlan materializing like smoke. "Mr.
Hayes."
Charming entrance. Let's not air laundry. But Dad wasn't done. "Fiancé's family isn't important?"
Full.
I said that once. Regretted it. Now I see the rot. He turned to me, voice cracking. "Kiddo, we're leaving. Tonight." Chaos erupted, Evelyn hissing. Lila filming on her phone. Guests murmuring. Jake grabbed my arm.
Autumn.
"Tell him he's wrong. We're solid." His plea cracked. Desperation raw. For a heartbeat, old love flickered. Then memory surged. The poison, the cold slap. I wrenched free.
No. Jake.
"We're done." Harlan's face twisted, fury.
Then.
"Calculation? Think carefully."
Girl.
"Walk away. And you walk alone." The threat hung, but Dad's hand on my shoulder anchored me. We pushed through the crowd, flashbulbs popping from Society Page's hacks.
Outside.
The limo waited, Dad's doing. Bless him. As we peeled away, I glimpsed Harlan on the steps, phone to ear, barking orders. The drive upstate was silence broken by sobs I didn't know I had. Dad gripped the wheel, jaw set. Knew it was bad, but not this. What did they do?
Autumn.
Everything, I whispered. Framed me.
Poison me. I.
Died.
Dad.
And came back. The words tumbled. Insane. But his nod was steady. Then we fight smart. Lawyers.
Feds.
No more secrets. Back at the ranch. Under star-pricked skies. I unloaded it all. The fraud. The leak. The foreknowledge. He listened, then pulled a dusty box from the attic, clippings from his investigator days. Pre-ranch. Your ma always said you got my nose for bullshit. Let's use it. September sharpened the blade. My leak snowballed, National outlets picked it up. Whitaker Watch trending. Protests outside their HQ. Tenants suing en masse. I hold up at the ranch. Burner phones my lifeline. Coordinating with journalists.
Theo.
The clerk. Fed more docs. Spooked but loyal for the cash. Jake's texts escalated. We can fix this. Come back. I love you.
Blocked.
Harlan cease and desist arrived via courier. Threats veiled in legalese. But the controversial pivot loomed. Full exposure meant collateral. Jobs lost. Families upended. The schemes propped up legit arms. Charities Evelyn fronted. Jake's green initiatives. Destroy them. And innocence burned. Nights. I'd pace the porch. Weighing souls. Dad pushed. Justice ain't clean.
Kid.
They lit the fire. I nodded. But guilt gnawed. Decision. Phased leaks. First. Irrefutable crimes, bribes. Forgeries. Let the dominoes fall selective. October's chill mirrored my resolve. SEC raided Whitaker offices. Harlan indicted on wire fraud. Jake arrested at a safe house in the Keys. Coke and cash his companions. Evelyn lawyered up in the Hamptons. Lila fled to Europe. Tabloids feasting. I watched from afar. A ghost in flannel. Testifying anonymously to feds. The twist hit mid-trial. Hale. The missing VP. Surfaced in witness protection. His story mirrored mine, framed. Fled. Now testifying. But in deposition. A bomb. Harlan knew about Jake's. Instability. The boy planned worse than fraud. Harlan covered for him. Always. Instability. The poison wasn't Harlan's order, it was Jake's. A desperate bid to keep her quiet forever. Harlan found out post facto. Staged my suicide to shield the empire. Banking on grief to silence questions. Betrayal layered, not just fraud, but patricide-level madness from the sun. Harlan's dramatic entrances, desperate ploys to gauge loyalty, protect his legacy from Jake's unraveling. November courtrooms buzzed. I slipped and disguised, watching Harlan take the stand, broken, not the titan. I built this for my family, he rasped, eyes finding mine in the gallery. But blood turns toxic. Jake, shackled, glared defeated, unrepentant. Verdict, Harlan. 15 years, Jake. 25 plus attempted murder. Evelyn pled out. Community service in pearls. December dawned crisp. The ranch dusted in first snow. Dad and I sat on the porch. Steam rising from mugs. You did it, Autumn girl. Clean slate. Not clean, I murmured. But free. The ring? Melted down. Funds to tenants' relief. A job offer came from a clean firm. Hale's referral. New York called, but softer now. As I packed, a letter arrived, Harlan's, smuggled via his lawyer. You were the daughter I wished for. Forgive the monster I became. Burn this. I did. Ashes scattering on wind. Life rebooted. Scars and all. No fairy tale prince, just me. Unbreakable. In the city of second chances. And if shadows whispered, I'd learn to roar back.